Mr. Red, I have a question. Why are you the way you are? I find it disturbing that you even exist.
Well, I'm glad you ask and say that, Johnny. Let's take a break from the movies and have a little history lesson on your old pal, Mr. Red.
Well, gang, here we are, at the Diner of Truth. I guess I'm more comfortable telling you this as a cartoon. Well, here goes. So yeah, I always wanted to make movies, from when I was really small. I never really studied. I just studied movies. Movies are everything to me. Movies are my whole life. The first movie I tried to make was a Ninja Turtles movie when I was 5, before I knew anything about copyright and stuff. I made it with my sister, Shireen, who was 3 years older than me. The movie was horrible, but I feel like I have been making my first movie ever since. When I was in junior high, my sister became very sick with MS. Seeing her get sick was the most horrible thing I've ever seen. She died when she was 23 and I was 20. When she was buried, I was told to go into her grave and place her corpse sideways as part of a religious ritual. No one told me I had to do that beforehand. I'm pretty sure this traumatized me, but what are you gonna do? It happened.
John, I found out my sister was killed.
A little before the time my sister had died, Kill Bill Volume 1 came out, and it completely enraptured me, even more so than Pulp Fiction, which was the film that influenced my decision to become a filmmaker as a life career goal kind of thing. I would hear about Tarantino calling Uma Thurman his muse, and I thought, all young and idealistic like, that an artistic muse relationship was like the greatest thing. I wouldn't fetishize anything in such a way now, but hey, I was young. I remember the movie Elf also came out in that time, and I saw it and I told myself, if I ever have a muse, it would be the woman in it, Zooey Deschanel. I was a kid practically. I would never think like this now. And plus the whole fetishization of the artist muse thing, I get how it's problematic now, but I was a young man. I'll say that a million times, but I really don't apologize for anything. At the time, a girl I knew who I used to date had a father, a nice guy, who had a lot of money, and he offered to executive produce my first film. So I wrote about this guy whose sister just died. And I just couldn't do it. Every time I would talk about it, my fucking lips would tremble. I hated it. So I told the guy, let me regroup. I worked for my father, cutting shirts by day and writing at night. Nothing I was writing was really resonating with me. That all changed when one day, one Saturday, a girl was in the showroom. I didn't know who. I walked out to have my cigarette, and to my surprise, it was Zooey Deschanel. We locked eyes for a moment as I was walking. I had my cigarette outside, and when I came back in, I just remember her being really nice. I remember telling my brother later, oh man, I saw my muse, like joking about it. I didn't take it too seriously until one day, my uncle, who was visiting from Iran, was going back, and we went to my sister's grave to pay our respects. And I realized as I looked at the headstone that my sister died on Zoe D's birthday. And that kind of made my head hurt, and my heart hurt. Like I knew those two dates, I just didn't really connect them. My brain couldn't take that weird coincidence, and so I kind of had a nervous breakdown. When I got out of the hospital, I took the similar date as a sign to fully devote myself to cinema. I would not love in any way other than artistically, whatever the fuck that means. I mean, again, I was young. I made my first short film by cutting shirts for just a roof over my head, which ain't bad, for a year, and ever since then I've been making stuff, and ever since then I've been devoted to cinema. At 26, I think my resentment got the best of me. Like, why the fuck do I have to live this weird-ass life? Why can't I be normal like everybody else? And I kind of lashed out at the world. I had so many resentments, and I think they swallowed me up. I remember in my worst moments when I would want to think about the films I wanted to make, I would go for walks. I once walked so much, my pinky toenails fell off, both of them. If I saw anyone, I would say something mean to them. The night of my arrest, I went back to the neighborhood where the shop was and I unleashed venom on everyone, resulting in me being arrested and locked up in Twin Towers Correctional Facility for 3 weeks. This was at the height of the sheriff deputy inmate abuse scandal that was, in the middle of happening. You can imagine how many fun stories I got with bright red hair, from those fucking deputies that choked me like 2 times. Yeah, it was the weirdest thing. Before I was arrested, I had this bizarre urge to color my hair red, which I had never done before. In jail, I was beaten and took my beating like a man, whatever the fuck that means again, and thus I was named Red, Nas Red. I joined a gang too, but that's another story. When I got out, I felt liberated, and I would dress head to toe in red. Becoming Mr. Red was my way, I think, of dealing with things. Mr. Red can do anything. Mr. Red doesn't need anybody. And if Mr. Red doesn't need anybody, I guess I don't need anybody either.